Unfortunately, ordinary Nigerians have not benefited from the oil industry's billions of dollars in earnings, despite the country's being home to some of the world's greatest oil reserves. Years of resource exploitation by the government and foreign oil firms have resulted in poverty, pollution, and bloodshed for the people of the Niger Delta. As local militias battle for oil control, an already poor situation has worsened. Did the Bodo tribe successfully sue Shell? And how much compensation was awarded to them for the damage to the community's ecology and way of life caused by two oil catastrophes? The money from this momentous victory was long ago squandered, but is Bodo in better financial shape now than before? Hey intellectuals, welcome back to Darkness Unraveled. In this video, we will find out why Nigeria was destroyed by an oil spill. So make sure to watch the video till the end because this one is going to be really informative. On October 10, 2004, Eric Du received a call from one of his father's employees. The river around their homes was black with oil. In Eric's village of Goy, a Royal Dutch Shell pipeline built in the 1960s brought oil from inland Nigeria to an offshore terminal. Eric thought the pipeline leaked. He tried to warn the pipeline operator, but Shell and its Nigerian affiliate had abandoned Goy a decade earlier due to riots. Eric recalls Shell's community relations officer is unavailable. He instead reported the leak to the police. The next day, officials in Nigeria's southern Niger Delta confirmed what people already knew. Oil was spreading and not stopping. Later that day, Goy deteriorated. Oil leaked into a farmer's home and caught fire. The village, oil-soaked creek, and mangrove trees caught fire. More than 23,000 liters of oil leaked, and 40 acres of mangrove forest burned, contaminating the village's land and fish ponds. Shell alleged in court that saboteurs caused the leak, not locals. Vandalism, theft, and leaking pipelines are frequent in the region. Eric and his father, the village chief, on the other hand, said a badly maintained pipeline caused the oil spill. Shell is leading Nigeria's oil business today. Amnesty International said the oil corporation has faced unprecedented judicial scrutiny for its unlawful and negligent activities in the Niger Delta. Several lawsuits are continuing, and courts have ordered Shell to pay billions in damages. Shell is under pressure to leave the region's oil market. In August 2021, the corporation stated it would sell its remaining onshore oil fields in Nigeria, citing community instability, sabotage, and a corporate-wide priority on green energy. Locals and attorneys perceive Shell's move as an attempt to avoid responsibility. A Nigerian court prevented Shell from selling any further assets, as the firm appealed a verdict that found it accountable for a 2019 oil leak and ordered it to pay over $2 billion in damages. Eric and his neighbors were among the hundreds of thousands of Niger Delta locals affected by leaks since Shell discovered oil there. Eric and his father wanted to end environmental pollution, corporate greed, and human rights abuses. However, seeking justice and reparation was no easy task. First, they'd face a multi-billion-dollar multinational business with sophisticated lawyers. Fear of arrest and retribution followed. Government security officers protected oil firms and violently reacted to pollution demonstrations. In 1995, the Nigerian government hanged 9 environmental activists known as the Ogoni 9. Accountability was elusive. Eric's family lost their village, poultry farm, bakery, fish ponds, and livelihoods. Shell was blamed. Nigeria has more than 36 billion barrels of proven oil reserves. In the southern Niger Delta region, 1.5 million barrels of oil are pumped daily. Since 1956, when Shell discovered oil in the Niger Delta, the industry has funneled revenues into the region and boosted Nigeria's economy. Oil contributed 40% to the country's GDP in 2000. Lax restrictions and rampant corruption ruled. Pipelines and infrastructure were neglected. Thousands of oil spills have occurred in the Niger Delta in the last decade. Shell has reported 1,010 oil spills since 2011, spilling 17.5 million gallons into the region. Many Niger Delta inhabitants live solely on farming and fishing. Oil spills have polluted water and land. Pollution has cost many locals their livelihood, inciting local uprisings and attacks on oil rigs that Nigerian security forces frequently mercilessly suppress. The oil giants behind the catastrophe avoided accountability for decades. They left behind a poisoned Niger Delta. Benin City environmental and human rights lawyer Chima Williams saw a pattern in the succession of oil leaks. As executive director of Friends of the Earth Nigeria, Williams intended to impact the oil business. He visited more than 20 polluted villages in the region after recent oil accidents. Farmers, fishermen, and an environmental rights NGO took on one of the world's greatest oil giants. Never previously had a European court decided on a corporate responsibility case, including international plaintiffs and incidents abroad. The legal case is riddled with intricacy. Appeals, obstruction, and delay tactics took over 13 years. After his father's illness, Eric took over as lead plaintiff in 2009. He felt like a celebrity when he testified in The Hague, a global event. He was terrified before testifying. Never before, Eric said. I've never flown, let alone been questioned by white people. Shell's legal team denied allegations that the 40-year-old pipeline wasn't properly maintained, but they claimed the evidence was lost. Janice Samkalden, a lawyer for Friends of the Earth and the plaintiffs, said the maintenance records were so highly censored they were illegible. The courts ordered Shell to send experts to Goi to investigate the oil spill's source and impact. Shell delayed this process for 2 years, Williams said, citing Niger Delta security concerns. The plaintiffs' patience and resolve were tested by the effort to drag out legal procedures. 3 of the 4 original claimants, including Eric's father, had died by the time the fishermen and farmers received the judgment. In Eric Du versus Shell, the Dutch court ruled SPDC responsible for the 2004 oil leak, not Shell's Dutch headquarters. The court concluded that SPDC behaved improperly by not stopping the pipeline's oil supply. The oil firm was ordered to reimburse Eric for spill and fire damages and was found guilty in 2 additional cases Williams brought. Environmental and human rights organizations praised the judgments as historic, landmark rulings that will assist oil pollution victims around the world in seeking justice and compensation from criminal firms. Shell's dominoes have fallen. In February, the UK Supreme Court decided to hear Ogale and Bill's cases against Royal Dutch Shell and SPDC for environmental damage. In August, more than 10 years after a Nigerian court ordered it to, Shell agreed to compensate the Ejama Ebubu people for $111 million for 1970s oil leaks. A global standard has been set that oil companies will be held responsible for the destruction they caused to their host communities, Williams said after the court ruling. They will also be reprimanded and held to take steps not to further destroy the environment and source of livelihoods of citizens. He, wearing his distinctive green togokpe, a chieftaincy garment, and his father's scarlet headgear, recalls that his grandfather was a noted palm wine tapper, but there are hardly any raffia palm trees left to tap. Crocodiles have also disappeared. Eric calls the village a museum. He smiles at a tree that has grown through the ceiling of his father's old bakery. When he gets his Shell compensation, he hopes to restore the bakery, open a vocational school, and create jobs. While winning cases have given Niger Delta locals optimism, it's uncertain if true justice and change will be achieved. Legal teams continue to negotiate a compensation settlement for the plaintiffs 17 years after the Goi oil leak and a year after the Hague's ruling in Eric's case. Shell stated that negotiations are ongoing, but declined to comment on the lawsuit or its actions in Nigeria. It feels quite unfair to claim a victory like that, knowing that we left our clients without relief, said Eric's attorney, Sam Kalden. It's silly. Victims of environmental and human rights crimes overseas can get relief within weeks, months, or a couple of years, not like here, 15 years or so. There was oil in everything the villagers consumed, including the air. Families in the Niger Delta ate, drank, and breathed oil after the devastating event. Other community leaders have condemned a new law aimed at luring domestic and international oil sector operators and making the Nigerian oil market less volatile. That's a whole other battle, man. Green energy is supported by the worldwide community. You're basically inviting the whole world back to drilling for oil again. And that brings us to the end of the video. Feel free to let us know what you think about this video. And if you liked this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Have a great day. Goodbye.